There's power in a drum beat on a hill above the sea. Power in the voice of a supporter. But it all amounts to nothing. Together we don't sing. There's power when we're not OICs. And it's day go forever. Old town scenery. Valley and mountain chaparral to the sea. And the colors of our rainbow, sunset orange, Tory green. There's power when we're not OIC. ST loyal forever. Someday in North County. Desert to islands. Get back now, you and me. All our voices strong together as we cheer on our team. There is power when we're not OIC.
What is up? Welcome to the Loyal Locals podcast, where you have a fun time catching back up with our locals friends, our loyal soccer club supporters group friends. I am your art and creative director, Drew Steck, at Drew Stork over here, and we've got two of my very, very good friends here today to join us and talk about everything that's happened the last few weeks since we last did one of these. Mr. Tony Sanchez from Two Balls and a Mic. What's up, man?
How's it going? Thank you for having me. I love doing this. I love watching it. I love being on it. So it's straight from the source. I get it.
Yeah, way. Good to have you, bro. And then Tay Tay, what is up, my North Park mate, our director of membership, the guy who handles all your complaints and whatever other Discord squirrels happen. This is the guy. Tay Tay, what's up, man? Good to have you.
Guten Abend, mein Freund.
Oh,
Yeah, Dankeschön. So good to have you both. We have so much to cover. We will have some silliness afterwards, of course, in the lounge. With these two, it's guaranteed to be pretty silly. So that will happen. But guys, we've been we kind of had some time off here, which was nice. We also had a space where, we've had some away games. So we've had some action since we last broadcast, kind of bringing it back and dialing it back. It was about 2 weeks ago that we actually last had a match that we could somewhat attend, right, in Carson, California. So the Southern California mega market was mega that day. And we took our bus up there, and pretty fun day, right?
I had a good time.
Yeah, no, I've been to a couple of buses, and I haven't had a bad bus experience with the locals or any type of mishap in that sense. So kudos to everybody who put those together. I know Jason helps out a lot significantly, but it takes a village, man. And I've had the time of my life on that bus, just nook next to the restroom area, just making sure everybody's taken care of, up and down,
right,
north and south.
That was the back of the bus is the place to be. Unfortunately, Taylor chose to set himself as tribute. He offered himself as bus director, or bus driver liaison, depending on the minute and what it was. But thank you, Taylor, for delivering us safely. Otherwise, the bus doesn't get where it's going. So props to you. Props to everybody who ran the bus there and setting it up. And we'll get a couple more shout outs here in a minute on that. But that was the end of our U.S. Open Cup journey. I was, short, brief, right, 2 and done, but I'm looking forward to more. I think we have space, to grow even into the next season. So you guys have any feelings specifically on that match? Otherwise, we'll get back to the league here, but that was pretty exciting.
Not to spend too much time talking about games, but I mean, 1-0 in their house, and they sub Chicharito on at the end of the game, which either it was fan service,
a bigger player, right?
There weren't fans there, so I'm gonna say it was fear. I think it was fear.
We got him on the ropes. We had him where we wanted him.
It was one little error that led to that goal, and we had a pretty good game otherwise.
Yeah, and they went all in, right? So you have the same 11 that started the game. They went in and they finished the game. Not a lot of substitutions, but at the end of the day, I think San Diego Loyal did what they were supposed to. They got bumped out where they were supposed to, like by the book. But we can be very proud of the lads just giving it all. I know everybody was bummed out as far as like players. In talking with Landon, though, I think it was a very positive experience after, and you can really tell that it meant a lot to the players. But they did get a very well-deserved break after it. Can't wait for the next experience for this whole Open Cup journey to start again next year. And I mean, it's the first time I've seen it in person and experienced it. And I'm really, really excited to see what the future holds for Loyal in that sense.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you know how it's probably going to end when it starts, but at the same time, felt like we were right where we want to be, right where we need to be, and if we could have made some magic there, who knows what happens? Who knows where you go? Are you a FC Cincinnati of years past, or St. Louis? A few years has had a couple runs, and there's a few clubs out there at the USL level who have made a name for themselves, and that could be us at some point. But in the league, we've kind of had a interesting run of results since we last broadcast. We were riding high off our just consistent home victories, our holding it down. Yes, we had maybe a couple hiccups, hey, it's a bump. It happens. We were just kind of killing the league and running the top of the table, and have fallen back a little bit from that first place position to still in the top, 3 or 4, clubs, definitely in the mix. Have more games played at this point than some other clubs, which is interesting. We're usually behind, actually, in the last few years in terms of the way the schedule works. So, different position to be in. But we had that Wednesday match, against the Roots. Then we had that Saturday match against, and that was a draw, right, on the road at our favorite Blues Clues field.
Never been able to beat the Roots, home or away.
They got our number, right? Our team has that kind of connection at this point with the Roots, where they've got a couple of our former players too, and it just feels like they got our number for whatever reason.
Absolutely, and you kind of it's a tie that you lost in a sense, because you lose Guido for a little bit. He comes off early. Overall, I think they should have won that game, but eventually they get an away point, so that's a net positive if you want to think about it that way. But again, a lot of miles on these legs.
Right, just so many games, and that's where I think you could see the wheels come off a bit, and this is where you were hoping they could make it back up by Tuesday, and Tuesday again by that showing in the Open Cup was somewhat admirable after what happened Saturday, which was that just rough gobsmacking from a very quality organization that has a buzzsaw, and if you give them a chance and you put your 2x4 on the table, they're going to buzzsaw you, and that's what happened to us. Is we played a weaker team, we caged them for a bit, and then little by little the cracks came through in our defensive line, which hasn't been strong. Even our starters this year, to be fair, has been a little bit inconsistent at times. So that just opened up, and Austin, our buddy Austin, and Tony will have some exclusive Austin content coming up in the lounge here. But Tony, just give us the rundown just in 10-15 seconds. What can you say about that game?
It was a rough game. It was a rough game for Austin, for the number one. And, you can't win them all. If that's what the nature of the goalkeeping position is. If you're the hero, then you're the hero of the day. But that's it. It's his first really big start. And unfortunately, it turned out as it was. It wasn't reflective of the actual match. But you never like to see 5 on the end of that.
Right. And it's never a goalkeeper. It's always a team sport. I do think that whenever they look really bad in a position, it's typically because something else happened on the field. And I think both of those things happened on that game, where it's just you have a bad game and nobody else has a good game. And that happens sometimes in team sports. The team slumps together and they win together, right? People rise together, and that's what's fun with team sports. And collectively, they can sink together sometimes. And that's, I think, what happened that Saturday. Luckily, again, they bounce back, and then we have a little break here, and now Saturday we have the creme de la creme of USL Championship. And it was kind of a little bit, I'm going to be honest, not to hype the guys in the desert here, but they were hyping their match, our entire match, right, as you do. But they kept saying, like, this is the premier matchup. It's like, we're ahead of them in the table. I don't know what you're talking about. I feel like right now we're the hotter team to play. So us versus the Rowdies, playing in the USL Championship. If you don't know, they're headquartered in Tampa. So all of the eyes of the league are much more closely on this game, probably attending this game behind the scenes. And there is a considerable amount of attention always put on the Rowdies, and they have their own facility, which is great. Used to be a minor league baseball stadium, lots of great history there. But in terms of the actual game itself, great officiating was one of the things that just stood out. Just kind of we'll get into the nuts and bolts here real quick, but and fantastic officiating, fantastic broadcasting. Weird how the team that's in the league's headquarters and the teams that are further east seem to have better stuff, right, Taylor? It's interesting how that works.
So I didn't get to watch the game live. I had plans, and it was a weird game kickoff. It was at 4 o'clock. So today I said, "Well, I'm
Right.
going to be on the podcast," and I skipped a little bit. I skipped ahead because there were some lulls in that game that were not worth watching. But I mean, yeah, the officials handled themselves well. I thought they called the game pretty fairly. I've never seen a ref sub in a game. That was new
Right.
for me. That was crazy, but they handled it like he pulled himself off.
He
Fourth
knew
official
exactly what to
got
do.
ready to roll, and
Yeah.
they rolled right with it. And I thought the fourth official was great too. And on top of that, I mean, I think there was a little bit of shoving and pushing as it normally is, but both teams played pretty cleanly, pretty attacking, open football. I think the Rowdies also like to play wide, so Loyal had to try to keep them inside a bit, and I thought that was it was a pretty good game, but very broadcast was good. I mean, you got to give them their broadcasters credit. They were pretty into it and excited. They kept saying Guido, but that's 90% of all
Yeah.
broadcasters.
Can't do
at this
much
point,
about that,
so,
bro.
I mean, I think we could just start sending a memo to each broadcast
Right.
team with
Yes.
here's how it's said. But I don't think
Broadcast love, not hate. Please end hate crimes in broadcasting against
Right.
Italian Americans, please. So I'm with you, Taylor. I think it's one of those things where there's only so much you can do with that, but I think generally it was nice to watch a match in which we felt like this is the way the league's supposed to work and the way that the level is supposed to play out. And sometimes on this show and Tony, on your show a lot, since you guys do a lot of analysis, you really look at it and you say, oh man, it's USL's going to USL here, and that's what was really nice. Was I think it felt like this was a clean played game. We played our best lineup, which was interesting. It was a very different lineup in some ways, but we played the way we wanted to play. We played our lineup. Tampa played the way they wanted to play. It was a showcase for the league and a great match, I think. What was your feeling kind of on the way the match played out in terms of the goals back and forth?
So at some point, it's always like, oh man, loyal are gonna loyal, right? You get early goal in, then immediately just give it up, and now we're tied again.
Right.
And once that happens, you're away. They get another goal scored on them. So then off an incredible just lapse in judgment inside the box from 3-4 different players, and then a half Chilena bicycle kick, a la Stoneman, much like Stoneman's
Yes.
goal up in Oakland. Same type of thing, right? But other than that, like the difference between this team and the teams of past for San Diego Loyal is that, yeah, there is that feeling of like, here we go again. But this team somehow and has proved it this whole season is no, they are different. They are literally built different, and they will get you the away comeback victory, which is not necessarily typical of Loyal of past, but man, it just feels good to always have that glimmer of hope, right? You have Charlie Adams coming back, getting his 60 minutes in, but then you throw the vessel, Kyle Vassell out there, just monster, man amongst boys, just children, just bullying people there, and
that bully off the ball was insane.
Yes, and you're talking about good refereeing. That's not really something that we associate with the USL or just soccer in general, but you got to give her credit where it's due, right? That third goal was an advantage that was given. That second goal where Kyle comes back and muscles off. We've seen at Torero, we've seen that exact play get called for a foul, perhaps even a yellow card, because this guy is just so strong and imposing that he just threw. Sorry, I like that. Just that Seinfeld background.
Accident.
Yeah, it's all good.
He was putting up a wall because Koke was a wall this game. He did a pretty good job, especially the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes. He did keep us in the game. It was rough, and you've seen this from this club. I will say it's a trope in sports, flying west to east coast. It's usually always the west coast team for these early starts. The game, the body clock, all that kind of stuff sometimes plays into it, which is interesting too. Sorry, Tony. So you were saying, I do think it is partially that belief of like, hey, is this going to play out that way we saw, especially this season? We've even seen it go both ways. With Louisville, we had them in the cage, right?
Yeah.
Then with Phoenix, different story, right? In Phoenix. So it's almost like it doesn't matter if it's home or away. This team can get it done where it needs to, but there's also always that potential for this to spill out and go wrong. I do think, again, with our full strength on the field, and especially with Vassell up top. That is their strongest formation. Bringing Among in and out of that when he's full strength is great. Having Nick Moon be a revelation here, and let's just talk a second about Nick Moon. I want to start a new, just quick tradition on the show to not do too much analysis, but let's just talk about that goal, and then also just kind of his work shifting then back to left back once Elijah it's incredible to see kind of his development, but also just him as a player. Being able to watch him in a loyal uniform is one of those guys where you think he's young, he's got potential. He's racking up the goals here now, and it looks like he's going to outpace his 6, I guess, with Indy 11. Nick Moon's goal.
Yeah, not to steal any thunder from Nick Moon whatsoever, but that it was an assist by Elijah Martin, who gets his 100th game in USL. Right. So congratulations to him. But Nick Moon, again, he's been doing this exact thing this entire season. We've seen it at Torero. He'll go one-on-one, he'll cut in, he'll usually make the right choice of looking for a teammate, and there's somebody usually there. That person usually being Guido or somebody else who he can offload it, look for that Amon run. But this time he just had that space, and he's just said, you know what, I have it in me, and I have the confidence to, and he shot a beautiful shot. But just overall, that's like the difference in this team. Once again, is you had Ibarra there last year, did get a team of the week, as Alan pointed out to us this week. But still, Nick Moon is just. I want him to last here forever, guys. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Right. I want him to be a loyal player forever, but he's lightning in a bottle, right? At this point, he is. The moon. As the moon phases in and out, it will fade out of our lives at some point, maybe. But I hope that it's a long waxing and a long waning with this character, because he is awesome. And again, from my college show, I'm props to Nick Moon and Evan Conway for stealing it. We get a double dose of Wisconsin goals here. And obviously with Jack Blake getting back on the sheet, kind of coming back, working his way back in now and looking pretty full strength, led to that final goal on what was just a great read of the game, and just a great way to get to the ball. His tenacity, right? His fight on that final goal was laying it off until you just kind of watch this fresh. That was a great angle. It's hard. It's so hard to hit at that speed.
And he got the defender to commit to the step away from his run, and then he went the other way, or step with his run and went the other way. And you could see him teasing him with his footwork. And I watched that a few times because I knew it was there. And I saw the rest of the goals. And I had watched all the goals, and I watched the rest of the recap. And man, you guys got the Wisconsin call out too. He said, he's like, the man from Wisconsin cuts inside or something to that effect. And then Nick Moon shoots for the moon. It was a great call.
Right.
Good. It was one of the best USL calls. Maybe not a great
call.
It was a really good USL call.
He was saying Nick Moon shoots the moon. It's like, sometimes you do it to yourself, where you give yourself the language in the call. It was not the guy from the Yankees. What's his name? The Yankees, Tony, who has the crazy calls. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're talking about the old. You're talking about the old one.
Yes, the old guy from the Yankees.
If the moon was made of spare ribs.
Oh, well, that's Harry Carey.
Harry Carey. I can't do it. It's all you.
You guys need Harry Carey to come out on the show. I think it's time to move on from this amazing performance. But let's say a couple things real quick.
Next podcast, you be Harry Carey, and I'll be Robert Goulet. Staring contest, quick. You win.
Nick Moon. Would you eat Nick Moon if he was made out of spare ribs?
And we're losing viewers, I'm sure.
No, we're gaining.
No, we're actually increasing. It's actually crazy.
All right.
You wouldn't believe.
We can move on, and we can do all of this in the lounge for sure.
Right, and that is what it is for. So join us later for more silliness like that. Following the show, we'll take a little break, a little intermission, and then join us for more silliness, where we will talk about, I don't know, musicals like Tony talked about on his show. Our partner podcast, Two Balls and a Mic.
I want to text interview Lucas, who was actually at the game.
I was going to say that. Let's get to shout outs. Yeah. Let's shout out Lucas. Oh. Lucas, our shirtless,
and his mom.
Man. He's a statuesque shirtless man in our section that He waits till the goal happens. He did not get shirtless at this game. I didn't see it on camera. I'm not sure. He was front row. He maybe had more class than that. He was away, so maybe he was just trying to, maybe it was a family section. I don't know. But shout out Lucas for being there, and hope to see you back in the section soon. And get maybe a report if you're around. Hey man, type into the show. Love to hear your report. My friend Jeff was also there. Who I don't know if he ran into you, Jeff, Lucas, at all. He said he ran into some loyal fans, and there was like a small party in the concourse. So my friend Jeff was out there, who's from here, but he was visiting his sister in Tampa, and they ended up going to the game. So there you go. Yeah, too many kids around. That is the official word from Lucas in terms of losing his shirt. If you are curious, that is what happened. So I'm with you, man. Sometimes you got to keep
think about
that stuff inside, and that's Section 9, 109 stuff, right? That's something we do at home that you feel comfortable doing in the sanctity of your own house. You may not do out in public, right? We all know how that feels. And
we're all going shirtless to Vegas, and you know it.
And sometimes when the temperature arises, the moment happens and the areolas breathe. And so therefore it is the tradition again that will live on. But we appreciate you, Lucas, for being there. I appreciate you, Jeff, and anybody who was able to make it out to Tampa Bay. It is a very cool venue. That is one of the trips where I wish it was just something I had an opportunity to do, but just flights and airfare being what it is these days was not in the cards. But also, thank you again. We've taken a little hiatus here to our last three hosts who did a fantastic job. They did so good. We didn't even have to recover stuff for a little bit, which was great. Thank you, Tom Blick. Thank you, Jason Radcliffe, our director of events. And thank you, Chris Garcia, all around great guy, sports brain. Chris Garcia, appreciate you guys. And everyone, again, who went on the bus tour. Just again, thank you. We can't do these kind of events. We can't do away trips without your belief. One of the big things with this bus trip was it was different day to day, right? You purchased the trip, and then the news came out from the club, and you weren't sure, but you stuck with us. So many of you had the option to say, hey, I might bail, or I might do this other thing, or maybe it's even more convenient for me to go to this one location, but I'd rather ride with you guys and ride with the locals. And that was really awesome. So thank you so much for doing that. Especially shout out to the Chavos who rode up with us. It's awesome to have that camaraderie and be together, because that's what it's all about. So riding one bus, one section, one love with that group. And everyone who's been out to watch parties recently, again, we're going to have some more coming up here. We're going to do a preview here in a minute, but thank you to everybody who has been coming to Home and Away. We are going to have a different set of venues for this next match. So if you're not a Home and Away person, maybe we'll have something more that you might be interested in here in a minute. But thank you to everybody who has been coming, and thank you to Jason Radcliffe again for setting up all these wonderful events as well as coordinating that bus. Thank you to Steve, our president, to Nicole Peterson, our director of communications, for all doing a fantastic job with that bus trip in terms of just making sure that everybody knew exactly what they needed to know. And again, thank you to Taylor for making sure the bus actually got where it was supposed to get, because otherwise it wouldn't have happened. So appreciate it, man.
Hey. Also, if anybody happens to hear this, I have someone's sunglasses. I posted in the Discord. I don't know what else I can do.
Dibs.
What is the statute of limitations? Maybe a couple months here, maybe a year. We need to figure this out. We haven't started an official Lost and Found, so please write in the comments what you think we should do with these sunglasses in terms of when they're either Taylor's, or maybe we give them away on the show, or Tony just called dibs, so maybe they're Tony's.
He did call dibs. Again, I've already licked them, so I think they're mine.
Double dibs.
Oh, you licked. By dog rules, they are now Taylor's. So we'll, again, let us know what you think, and maybe we'll discuss more in the lounge. But upcoming this weekend, and Taylor, you are going to be there, so that is partially why you are an expert to appear on this here podcast. Where are you going, man?
I'm going to the same place I always go for work, which is Albuquerque, and I fly there, and then I do things somewhere nearby. But on Saturday, I will be at the New Mexico United Isotopes Stadium. They call it the Lab, which I think is kind of great. Cool. Another baseball field. But they've done an all right job with it. You can still kind of see the turf where the seams are on the turf, but they've got a great great crowd. The Curse is fun. Black Diamonds are fun. They've invited us out before. They've come out to visit us. And so I'll be landing at something like 2:30. From what I understand, Marklin and Gabe are doing the road trip. I'm not sure if anybody's in the car with them or not. I have to hand off. I have the drums still from the bus because we haven't had a home game since before the bus. I have Pearl Jr. So I'm going to hand that off, and I'm hoping I can have Gabe pick up some banners. And anybody that's going to be going, if you're hearing this now, if you're hearing it later, hit me up on Discord. Shoot someone an email, and they'll get a hold of me because I'd love to meet up with as many people as we can in good old Albuquerque at the lab.
The land of enchantment. I've
The
been
land
to
of
Albuquerque once. I've always wanted to go back. So definitely, if you're interested, maybe you can grab a last-minute Southwest fare,
Wanna get
or
away?
drive and caravan out there with somebody, pay for some this expensive here gas these days, or Tesla charging, whatever you're doing on your way out to Albuquerque. But hopefully you meet up with Taylor out there. And again, shout out Black Diamonds and Chris, who's been, welcome friend of the loyal community, and very friendly with the locals in starting
Absolutely.
up his supporters group out there as well. So will be really cool to have that moment with you guys, kind of sharing it together out there, because they've been awesome coming here last year. It was my favorite hosting that we've ever done, and was definitely having New Mexico
It's
here.
actually kind of fun. They are our last home game this season, so I'm hoping they show up in big numbers again, and we can all, have a good hangout weekend at the end of the season. I was actually out there for a game. Let's see. It says on this really cool poster I got, March 30th, I went and saw Oakland Roots, and they're doing something this season where they have kind of like how Travis did with the Sockers, where they have a different art. Well, he was the same artist, but they have a different artist making a poster for each home game this year. So I'm probably going to pick up at least one, if not a handful of those posters for the Loyal game. Assuming
They're cool. They're cool as a club is what I mean. They really do have a great artistic eye. Their owner, owning Meow Wolf and having kind of vested in obviously large production of art in certain ways, has connections where I feel like they do express themselves. The Roots are another club that we played, right, that have just some great community and art around that. So it's always kind of cool to be able to visit one of those markets where it's not just also a bland club, right, where they're like, hey, we throw a shield on some stuff and maybe we have some quirky social media, but they really do the whole thing as a club, and they've been trying to build their own home as well, and pushing with the city of Albuquerque to do that. So at some point they will hopefully move out of the lab, but we know how that is just a little bit here.
it's a little bit familiar. So and they, some counselors I just really respect. They've got a lot of great stuff going on in their community. They have a big Somos Unidos push that they do, and I'll give them credit. They play some pretty good football. That Oakland Roots game I went to with them, they fought back for a draw when they were down, and their fans are really passionate behind it. They run. They've actually expanded to being 2 full supporter sections, if I'm correct, with 2 capos. They've got, so they're kind of like how we run Smoke, where it's from a machine, but I believe the supporter section gets to be in charge of it, which is kind of something different in New Mexico where there's no laws.
That's cool.
So it's just, they've got a cool vibe, and you can get giant cans of Modelo, which is actually really nice and refreshing in a hot Albuquerque evening. So.
Right, with that altitude too, you also can buy less and get more for your money. So
absolutely,
good times.
Except if you travel there all the time and you just work up a stupid tolerance.
and then it doesn't mean anything, but you still enjoy and know where all the great food is. So definitely, if you're rolling, hit up Tay Tay on Discord. And again, we do have a hotel deal there. We have a few different things set up for you.
Hotel deal is awesome. If my hotel deal wasn't free, it's I think it's $69 a night.
Right, at the Crown Plaza.
So, awesome.
Right. So let us know, or look in the Discord, and you can get the information there. That is definitely something that you should hopefully take advantage of if you are going. Just to have a place there, unless you do have family or a situation like Tay Tay where you're traveling for business. So hey, man, throw it on the per diem. You got it. Good to go. So any other things, guys, on that New Mexico match? Otherwise, we do have a June 5th meet and greet or season ticket holder or barbecue, I believe, type of thing happening June 5th. So do mark your calendars for that. These are just kind of dates that I'm going to put out there that maybe you have heard or haven't heard, but things that have come to us. And that's going to be at the Chula Vista Athletic Training Center. So that's something that is being now pushed out by the club as a save the date type of thing. For season ticket members only. But since a decent amount of the people listening to this fall into that, we just want to let you know that. And then the other big thing that's coming up for us is Locals on Tour to Colorado Springs. I know a number of us, I know Steve in particular has said that he would really love to do this over July 4th. Obviously, lots of things always shifting, but a number of people have said they want to go out there for that July 4th matchup. At 7 p.m. So you can kind of do the weekend out there in Colorado and enjoy, again, the altitude, the mountains, the majestic side of the Rockies. And we do have a deal up there as well. So definitely hit us up in the Discord in terms of what to expect there. The fun thing is, I think we're also in Section 109 that game. That's kind of cool. There you go. Boom. Something to look forward to. So if you do want to go to Colorado Springs, now's the time to start planning. That way, if you're hearing about Tay Tay going to Albuquerque, you're like, man, I wish I could have gone, but I didn't plan. I didn't think about it. Now you can request off of work. You can not be that sad voice guy. I'm sad voice guy. Blew it. Oh, man.
You can find more information on that on Discord, you said?
More of that information on Discord, man.
Oh, bro.
So that is that. Again, this weekend, more recently, the one thing I do want to get to is with this matchup and just any other things we want to say about it we can after this, but just as the watch parties, right? So for those of us who aren't going to the land of enchantment, to the beautiful New Mexico, stuck here in the county, we're going to have a few different options. We have been going to home and away for most of our matches this year, actually every match this year. With the club having various watch parties at Stones, that will also be in effect for this game. We are going to be shifting, and we're going to do 3 different locations throughout the county. The first being in Golden Hill as a new location that I don't think we've ever watched anything at, is El Reyes. It's a Mexican and seafood joint. They're right on the main drag, right across from Pizzeria Luigi, and some other stuff. So there's there in Golden Hill, and a nice little open patio, fun place if you want to stop by. The Pizza Bros Monday morning lunches has actually spawned a Friday afternoon equivalent at El Reyes with the taco tots. I don't know what we're going to call ourselves, but shout out to Ken Garten and Jerry Ibarra. But they locked down the spot and told us about it as locals kind of to that neighborhood. And it's a great place to watch game. Projector, cocktails, again, Mexican food, so you can't really go wrong there. The other location is very familiar to us, is O'Brien's in Kearney Mesa. So O'Brien's, home of AO, now Liverpool is finding a home there as well, which is fun, and just an all-around great time there in Kearney Mesa. So you can stop by O'Brien's. We're going to have a number of people watching the game there. And then Mike's Barbecue in Escondido, which I'm not familiar with, but I've been told is a wonderful place to watch pro sports, live sports of any kind, pro or otherwise. It could be amateur beanbag championships. Great place to watch those. So Mike's Barbecue in Escondido will be our third location. So we got you kind of North County, kind of up there in that mid-central, and then we've got that kind of central city location, as well as I know our friends at Chavos will be doing something at Three Punks down in the South Bay. So you've got you covered all over the county in terms of supporter groups, showing out, having watch parties. So show up, hang out with your friends. You don't have to drive too far here, and we'll be able to hang out with you wherever you're going to be. I'll probably be it already. You could hear my sales pitch. I think you're going to know where I'm going to end up. But Tony, do you have any great plans for this weekend? Are you going to be planning on going to one of the watch parties?
So I'm planning on watching the game, definitely. So it's just a matter of exactly where it's going to happen. And I like this concept, right? Like, everybody has their little nooks and crannies, but just make sure that wherever you're going to enjoy the game, that they have a subscription to ESPN Plus or the CW or access to Azteca 33, I believe. Or am I missing one? Was that it?
I think
Travel
that's
to the game. Travel to the game.
right.
Actually,
And-
travel to.
and-
I'll be live tweeting it for the entire match instead of watching it.
Or access to Taylor's Periscope. I don't even think that's around anymore. But yes.
Periscope. Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Remember that.
I'll be doing MySpace Live.
The real one.
Right.
That's a thing.
MySpace
I'm a thing.
Right. Yeah. So that is our wind up. That is our main event happening here over the next week or so, and we will have another show coming next Tuesday for you. Obviously, this was chock full, catching you back up over the couple weeks, so we've run a little bit over our normal time here. But really just want to let you know there's a few things that you can always help us out with. As Tony was saying, you can get involved if you find a place in your neighborhood. They are like, hey, man, I didn't even know we had a soccer team. And what are the locals? That sounds cool. I'm joining. You can join for free. Sign up on the website. I joined. I'm already joined. I'm in. Like, let's go. If that is the case, obviously in the Discord, connect with us. Let us know. We'd love to invest and see if that's a place where we can drive people to and obviously make more of a thing. And then on top of that, what we're doing here tonight, we're doing this broadcast here. If it ever interests you in any way of helping out with graphics or contributing in terms of just pushing buttons behind the scenes or watching people push buttons, then learn how to push buttons. That's what we're all about here at the Locals. It's co-op. It is volunteer. And so this is driven by you, by viewers and listeners like you. So we really appreciate any time or volunteer effort that anybody wants to give into this. That's why we're all here tonight, is we just love this community and we really want to contribute as much as we can. So if you find yourself in that same position, hit us up, let us know. Me at Drew Stork, you can find me in all the things. And that is the best place to find me. But also in the Discord, you can hit up anybody in leadership in our staff chat, as well as anytime at a game. If you see somebody jumping around who looks like they kind of know what they're doing, just pull them aside and say, hey, I'm really interested in getting into this. I didn't know how to message you or do something, but there's never a bad time to start that conversation. So definitely let us know. And we'll throw out our handles here in a second, but stick around for the Locals Lounge, the live lounge here, and hanging out and hanging out with us. We're going to take a little break, but again, Tony, let them know where to find you and how to get involved with what you're doing in our community.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and check out our podcast, our little show called Two Balls and a Mic. That's at 2BALLS and a mic on any social media platform. You find me at _Tony Sanchez. Pretty easy. On Twitter, and then Tony Sanchez, TonyZanchez on Instagram. So check it out. It's try it out, man. It's pretty good. Tay Tay.
So I think a lot of people have grown to realize that I am the internet's Victorian porn star, no vowels. So Facebook's Taylor, just regular old Taylor. But on Instagram and Twitter, it's at VCTRNPRNSTR. And of course, I'm Tay Tay on Discord, which is, I'm sure you're sick of me at this point, most of you.
No.
So that is us. That is this for this week. And again, join us in a few minutes here when we're jumping into the lounge. Just a couple more shout outs real quick. Yes, every watch party location has meat to mouth Carl, of course. So definitely get to those watch party locations. We'll see you there this weekend. And then let's have beers together. And thank you for those who brought the beers for the bus. I'm not going to forget you, Kim. Kim, thank you for picking up those beers. And then thank you, Tom Blick, as well, for making sure those got handed off and that we were fueled sufficiently heading up to the Carson Stadium there. So thank you to everybody who tuned in, everybody who's contributed to this group, who remains contributing to this, and we'll catch you in the lounge here. Appreciate you.
Any day, go for